Okay, by attending the seminar, you're going to decide that you want to go to the next level. As Monica was telling you, it's very important to invest in yourself. Emotionally, as you did during this little event we just did, this little exercise. Philosophically and educational. 95% of all salespeople do not invest in themselves. 95% of all salespeople do not hit their goals. There must be a correlation. There absolutely is. Those 5% have established goals for themselves, and they've gone out and supported themselves to achieve those goals. You have doctors who take extra courses, lawyers, insurance agents, every field goes out and supports themselves with continuous education, but the salesperson. Isn't that funny? And the more salespeople out there than anywhere else. So I'm proud to be out here to be able to give you a little assistance as we go forward and some information that's really, really imperative to our personal lives as well as to our business life. So what is negotiation? It's a tool for problem solving. And again, I spoke about divorce. Negotiation skill sets. You don't end up feeding your ex-wife for the rest of your life. Over and over, letting her dress. Wait a minute, I'm getting carried away again. It's a personal thing, I apologize. All right, but basically what you need to do is you need to understand that you bought a house, you save thousands of dollars if you knew how to negotiate. You buy a car, which is the toughest negotiation for a lot of people, you're saving thousands of dollars in buying the car. And you're dealing with people. I had a gentleman in the hallway who said to me, listen, I like to date. Can you tell me how to close a deal in 2 dates? Well, I don't know if we're going to have any tips to support that for you guys and for you girls, all right? But there might be some on bargaining chips at the end that you might want to use. So keep track of bargaining chips. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to help you along the way, give you some tips today. It's a short time we're spending together, but we're going to try to give you some tips you could take away with you. In front of you, you have workbooks. Negotiating workbooks, follow along. There are some times we're going to ask you to fill in some information. Other times it's for your own, your own information in a future date to read through it. There is an assessment you can take at your own time inside that book as well. In this overview, you'll be able to describe how negotiation impacts sales results. You'll be able to describe and demonstrate the link between negotiation, communication, and sales process. Negotiation is all about how you communicate. How you give information that people understand so they respond in a positive manner. We're going to go over that a little bit. We enhance negotiation results by using core skills. What is a core skill? A core skill is relationship selling, not peddler selling. A lot of us have been taught to sell by going out and offering the attention, the interest step. We throw our benefits in. We handle objections, sometimes better than others. We do rebuttals. We handle objections again. Sometimes we close deals. But most of the time, we lose deals. And you say, why am I losing the deal? I did everything the way I was taught to do it, and you were taught incorrectly. Otherwise, you would close more deals. Relationship selling is what you should be focusing on, not peddling. We go out there and we push our products. Now, why do we focus on relationships? Anybody?
There's people buying from people they know and trust.
Very good. What else? Anybody else? Because if they don't buy from you today and they're walking down the street and somebody says, I need a certain product, you say, I know somebody who can get it for you. We all become representatives of each other because we have relationships, and I believe in you, and I believe in you, and I trust you, and this is how we build a business. We don't go in, write off someone who doesn't buy from us as a candidate that we burned. That old turn and burn mentality we've all been taught. You never burn it because it will come back and either haunt you if you burn it or benefit you if you cultivate it. So those are one of the skills that you need to learn about. We want to prepare a 3-tiered analysis for negotiable issues. When you go into closing a deal, we're going to teach you how you go into that deal with expectations versus results. We sometimes just go in and do off the cuff. We try to present what we want, we walk away, we're not prepared, and we lose the deal, or we give it away and left money on the table. How many of us left money on the table of any deal we've made? No, I know more of you guys did. Because I've left money on the table. And usually my kids took it. So it was, Rob, you owe me. Developing negotiating strategies based on opportunity and buying behavior. Has anybody ever taken a course, DISC, D-I-S-C at all? You familiar with that? I'm certified in delivering the DISC system. What DISC does is allows you to analyze the personality traits of the person you're delivering to. How would it be if you were able to put information in front of an individual exactly the way they can comprehend it? Would that help you guys?
Yes.
Okay? Well, that's what it does, because sometimes if you go to a high-level individual or you go to a CFO, what is a CFO looking for? Numbers. Bottom line. What is a CEO looking for? Results. Well, results. Bottom line. They don't want stories. How many of you go in and see an owner or president of a company, you sit down, you start telling them stories, and you wonder why it's not working? They're not mentally adjusted to comprehend stories in most cases. What they are adjusted for is tell me what you can help me and get out of my way. That's C level. If you're talking to an engineer, what are they looking for? Details, schematics, blueprints, stories, jokes. They love it. You could sit with them all day. Waste your time, but you could sit with them all day because that's how they live. If you're dealing with a gatekeeper, maybe you want to write this one down. Okay? What personality style you're dealing with on a gatekeeper? They're what they call an SC. They're steady. They're consistent. They're trained to say, get off my phone. I'm not letting you get past me. They do it all day long. So what skill set would you use to get through that gatekeeper? Empathy. You do a great job. I've never been shut down by anybody as good as you are. Your boss must really appreciate you. What you'll find is when you start to do that, is they'll turn around and they will start talking to you about, you know what, let me get you in front of him right now. Because you built a relationship through their personality style. Okay, so there are 4 different styles. There's positive styles, negative styles. And you need to understand and analyze before you give a presentation what style you're presenting to. If I'm talking too fast, I'm a New Yorker, slow me down. It doesn't really work, but it's worth trying. And we'll identify and apply bargaining techniques at the end. Now, I like to loosen things up a little bit with, if you can't take away information on my training, you can always take away a joke. Okay, so I have wild witticisms. These are facts and quick ones that allow you to think a little bit. For instance, before you criticize someone, you should walk a mile in their shoes. That way, when you criticize them, you're a mile away and you have their shoes. I went for a walk last night. My wife asked me how long I'd be gone. I told her the whole time. Generally speaking, you're not learning a whole lot when your mouth is moving. You guys didn't laugh at that one. It must be something you're taking personal. I went to the bookstore and asked the saleswoman what the self-help section was, and she said, if I told you, it would defeat the purpose. A verbal contract is not worth the paper it's written on. If you try to fail and succeed at it, which have you done? I want to tell you a little story about a salesperson who died and went to heaven. And as he got to the pearly gates, God stopped him and said, I'm going to give you a break today. I'm going to give you a choice of where you're going. I'm going to let you go either to heaven or to hell. That salesperson, of course, wasn't sure which way he was going anyway. But he had a choice now, so what he decided to do was take a look. He said, God, can I see both of them? He said, absolutely. He said, I'm going to go to see hell first. So he walks down a corridor, takes the elevator way down, walks down another corridor, goes to a door, opens the door, and it's the most beautiful thing he's ever seen. There are people drinking wine, there's music playing, the trees are swaying, the birds are chirping. He says, God, this is beautiful. This is hell. I want to go there. And God says, you have one choice. You can't go back once you make that choice. And he says, yes, I want to go there. You want to see heaven? He said, no, it can't be any better than this. So he says, fine. And he puts him down the elevator again to the bottom, sends him down the hallway, goes to the same door, and he touches the door. And he burns his hand. And he turns around and he says, how do we get in? He says, kick the door in. And he kicks the door in, and it's fire and brimstone, and it's the ugliest place you can imagine. He says, God, what is this? He said, son, that was the demo. This is the real thing. Now, how many of you salespeople deliver demos and don't deliver the real results? Okay? That's what you have to look at. What we're going to try to do is help you get to the real results. Let's define negotiation. It's a specific process for guiding a discussion of relative wants and needs towards a mutually rewarding agreement. Negotiation is win-win. We've all been suspect or part of only one win and we lose, or we win and somebody else loses. When you buy a car, the car salesman gives you a great price and you walk out of there and we all know we got hurt. There's never a great price for us when we go shopping for a car. Am I right? Right? Never. No matter how much. I'm $100 over dealer invoice. We know there's $500 over there you didn't talk about. So we know we're getting hurt. They win. We lose. So negotiation for us, you have to understand, is about a win-win approach only. No winner takes all, but a win-win. Negotiate to win. Let's talk about where we start with negotiation. To me, it starts, any of you have children? Any women have children? The first thing the baby came out, what did you hear? What did you hear? Crying. What was the baby looking for? Food. Negotiation, immediately. I cry, you feed me. Works. It goes on to little Johnny at the toy store crying and screaming, if you buy me a gift, I'll be good. Our kids ever do that? Yeah. My son still does that. Rob, raise your hand. Mike wants to borrow a BMW to take Jessica out. What does he tell Mom? Dad, I'll wax and wax it for you if you let me take the car. Is he negotiating? Yes. Absolutely. Your wife takes your credit card. Out there spending. She comes back, she buys you a little gift. Maybe $5 out of $2,000 she spent. It's not strong negotiation, but she's trying. My wife, we went to New York and we went down to Chinatown area to buy one of those bootleg bags. And we got into this van, they put us into this van, and it was like 120 degrees, but it's filled with bags. And she picks out a Chanel and some other name brand that I really don't understand. And the woman says, 2 bags for $120. And I throw the door open, and I said, no way. And I walk out, she goes, no, stop. We walked out of there, it cost $40 for 2 bags, okay? My wife then and I get in a little disagreement in Central Park. She takes off and starts walking on her own, goes to another stand down on 5th Avenue. I go back to the hotel, she comes in, and I think she's angry at me, and she's really seen me. And she said, I went to the stand, I tried to get $5 off, they wouldn't give it to me, right? She was not mad, well, it was a good thing, she wasn't mad at me any longer. She was mad at the vendor downstairs who didn't give her the $5 off. Now, why didn't she get that $5? Because she didn't know and understand how to negotiate. Because negotiation is a skill. Qualify, understand your participant, and then you're able to deliver the right information so you can win at the decision. They won. They sold a bag to me for $40 that they probably paid $20 for, 2 bags. It's just I won because I didn't pay $120 for the 2 bags. Life examples. What time do your children go to bed? Anybody have your kids negotiate them? Come on, just one more show. One more show. How much raise should you receive? We're going to go into that a little bit of the best times to go for a raise, to ask for a raise, and how to deliver it. We're going to try to cover that, but that's a real subject matter. There's a lot of information needs to be gathered, but you got to gather it to really be strong. And where will we eat dinner? I tell you, I used to throw my kids in the car, and we used to drive around in our neighborhood 80 or 100 miles in circles, just trying to say, what do you want to eat? What do you want to eat? You want Chinese? You want Italian? You want this? You want... I'll have anything, and then you bring it up and that. So some of you guys understand that. And we go around in circles, trying to find a restaurant, we ended up eating at home. This would go on every Sunday. We would do the same circle. Where do you eat dinner? Negotiation into relationships. They're when you're on a personal level, at your job, and they work beneficially for your organization as well. Your organization wants you to negotiate differently or better than you're doing right now. And I'll tell you why in a second. On a personal level, you become more successful at making effective and lasting deals. You achieve more in life's pursuits, and of course, what we discussed before, for your personal purchases, for your home, your car, your boat, or any other purchases you can negotiate. Do you know if you go into Macy's or any department store, you can negotiate the price? I bet you guys don't know that. You go up to them and say, can I get a better deal? And you think you can't do that because it's Macy's. They have supervisor discounts sitting under their desk, which they'll give you if you ask the right way. Never settle for the first price. Always ask, can I get a better price? Again, my wife cannot do that. She almost gets into sweats when I ask her to negotiate. But it's easy, just do it. Don't take it personal, just ask. If they say no, you're no worse off than you are now. But do it, you'll save a substantial amount of money.